Well, right now, 2 men are under arrest after a raid at a nightclub in Richmond.
The moment someone steps into a nightclub, something begins to work on them quietly, invisibly, and with remarkable precision. Nothing inside a club is accidental. Not the color of the lights, not the bass vibrating through the walls, not the curated laughter rising from a cluster of women near the entrance. A nightclub isn't designed to sell alcohol. It's designed to sell an illusion of desirability, exclusivity, and the promise of being exactly where the energy is. And that illusion is the true engine of nightlife. Most people imagine promoters as party hosts who simply invite guests. In reality, they function more like behavioral economists operating in the shadows. Their task is not just to bring bodies through the door, it is to curate the first 15 minutes of the night so flawlessly that newcomers interpret the scene as organically vibrant. They engineer the atmosphere the way a director frames a shot. And nightclubs depend on this expertise far more than they admit. Booking a famous artist may draw a crowd, but it's expensive, unsustainable, and unreliable on a weekly basis. What happens on an ordinary Thursday with no headliner? What happens when foot traffic is slow or competitors are hosting rival events? Clubs turn to the only people who can generate momentum out of thin air promoters. These individuals navigate a unique blend of social psychology and business acumen. They understand how people move, what catches the eye, how groups interact, and which clusters of guests will trigger the perception of a good night. They know that a table of enthusiastic women placed near the entrance has more marketing power than a $1,000 advertisement. They know that perceived exclusivity sells more bottles than any discount ever could. But their influence extends beyond aesthetics. Promoters actively manage risk, reputation, and customer experience. They mediate disputes, protect vulnerable guests, coordinate with staff, and ensure high-value clients feel important. To the club, they deliver revenue. To guests, they deliver belonging. They are the ghostwriters of nightlife, present everywhere, yet officially recognized nowhere. Their absence is felt instantly. Their presence is felt economically. In a world built on the illusion of energy, promoters are the ones flipping the switch. Before the music warms up, before the dance floor wakes, before the first paying customer decides whether to stay or leave, Derrick has already reshaped the destiny of the night. Few people in Chicago understand nightlife with the intuition he carries, and even fewer can manufacture the illusion of energy as swiftly and convincingly. If a club opens to silence, Derrick is the one who breaks it. He arrives early not for himself, but to position his most valuable asset, the women who signal that the party has already begun. At many venues, he has handed 1 or 2 tables near the entrance, not as a courtesy, but as a strategic deployment. The first thing guests see when they walk in is Derrick's curated micro-universe women, laughing, dancing lightly, talking with effortless presence. It is a scene engineered to trigger a single thought in every newcomer's mind: this place is going to be good tonight. Nothing about this setup is accidental. Derrick understands the psychology of first impressions better than most executives. He knows that the earliest moments define the economic trajectory of the night. A lively table at the entrance becomes the spark that ignites every other section of the club. What appears spontaneous is actually deliberate choreography. Yet the brilliance of Derrick's work lies not only in the aesthetics he creates, but in the relationships he cultivates. These women are not hired models. They are real locals who choose to be at his tables because they trust him. They know Derrick keeps them safe, that he is attentive, sober, and vigilant. He monitors their drinks, their bags, their comfort, and their distance from unwanted attention. In an environment built on chaos, he is structure. His professionalism is his brand. Despite his tattooed face, often misjudged at first glance, Derrick operates with a corporate-level discipline. Club owners know it, staff know it, even rival promoters know it. Derrick is the promoter who rarely gets bumped, who keeps his tables even when a big headliner performs, who is always greeted as an asset rather than an accessory. Tonight he buys bottle service out of his own pocket, not to impress, but to invest. He knows that giving his guests a memorable night secures loyalty referrals and future momentum. Like a seasoned entrepreneur, he understands lifetime value. What he spends today returns to him tenfold over the weeks that follow. At its core, a nightclub survives on one brutal economic principle: it must look busy long before it actually becomes busy. A club that fails to project momentum in the first 30 minutes of opening doesn't just risk losing a few customers, it risks losing the entire night. Humans are programmed to follow signals of social value. If a venue feels empty, people assume it is empty for a reason. They leave. Their leaving becomes someone else's signal to leave. It is a chain reaction that kills revenue before it even begins. By midnight, the club transforms. What began as a quiet room is now pulsing with life. Men buy tables to be near Derrick's section. The energy radiates outward. The illusion he created becomes reality. And through it all, Derrick barely moves from his post. He is watching, working, calculating, guiding the night like an unseen conductor. His efforts tonight will earn him between $400 and $800, but the impact he creates priceless to the club that depends on him. If Derrick commands energy through presence, Jay commands it through scale, through a system so wide and quietly efficient that it reshapes Chicago nightlife from the shadows. By day, he teaches 4th grade math. By night, he becomes one of the city's most formidable promoters, a man whose network expands every hour, even while he sleeps. Most promoters rely on charisma. Jay relies on infrastructure. The illusion begins with a simple observation: Jay is always surrounded by women, not a handful, hundreds. But the real story is hidden behind the scenes. Every message a woman receives from Jay, every greeting, every confirmation, every "what time will you arrive" may not be Jay at all. His closest childhood friend runs his digital machinery: Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, Instagram, DMs. Jay provides the face, his friend provides the engine. Together, they operate a system comparable to a miniature CRM, filtering and categorizing contacts based on availability, music preference, venue requirements, and desirability tiers. By Friday evening, Jay receives a clean, curated list, the most responsive women sorted by where they would make the strongest impact. This is not socializing. This is behavioral segmentation with a nightlife application. When a famous artist performs, Jay's value technically decreases. The crowd will come regardless. And yet, paradoxically, he becomes even more important. The club wants to look elite, not just busy. They want 10s and 12s, as they casually put it, women who amplify the venue's image on social media. Jay delivers them effortlessly. These women skip the line, get escorted in, and become the visual currency that draws high-spending men to purchase Water $500 to $2,000 tables. Inside the venue, Jay moves like a strategist, not a reveler. His own seat at the table has little meaning. He gives it up immediately because his value is mobility. He's everywhere ushering women in, answering DMs, selling tables to male clients, troubleshooting problems before they escalate. When one of his guests is harassed on the dance floor, Jay doesn't hesitate. He tracks the offender signal security and ensures the man is blacklisted permanently. This authority is not granted by title, but earned through years of familiarity with staff and management. He is in essence a trusted external operator, not employed by the club, yet indispensable to it. The numbers reveal the magnitude of his work. In a single weekend, Jay brings in 250 women across several clubs. On this particular night, he earns $150 for the women he brings and $350 more from table sales, a total of $500. Later, he'll shift his entire entourage to another venue and earn again, reaching $990 before sunrise. Jay's success disproves a common misconception. Nightlife is not chaotic. It is structured, patterned, predictable when engineered by the right mind. Where most promoters hustle, Jay scales. Where most guess, Jay analyzes. And where most rely on charm, Jay uses a system that never sleeps. In a city where most clubs go dark from Monday to Thursday, only one man can make a Thursday night feel like a Saturday primetime explosion, and that man is Eric Boss. While traditional promoters chase crowds, Eric creates worlds. His parties aren't events. They are engineered ecosystems designed to overturn every assumption about what nightlife can be. At 9 p.m., while other promoters are still strategizing, Eric is already orchestrating controlled chaos. His apartment is a staging ground, bubble guns, cash cannons, custom fortune cookies, megaphones, LED sticks, and boxes packed with props that seem better suited for a circus than a nightclub. But that's the point. Eric doesn't sell nightlife, he sells novelty. He sells stories guests will repeat for weeks. This is why the very first cluster of guests inside a nightclub is the most economically valuable, and more often than not, that cluster is composed of women, not because of arbitrary social preferences, but because nightlife economics relies heavily on visible desirability. Historically and biologically, people, especially men, respond to visual cues of attractiveness. In nightlife, this translates directly into spending behavior. Clubs know it, promoters know it, and the entire system quietly orbits around that fact. Unlike Derrick or Jay, Eric does not target elite clients or curate tens. His demographic is everyone, regular workers, first-timers, curious friends, people who don't need prestige to have a good time. He removes the velvet rope from the equation and replaces it with atmosphere, immersion, and unpredictable moments. This is why his events have no cover charge, no RSVP requirements, no selective entry. He democratizes the party and monetizes the energy it produces. The economics behind his impact are startling. A club that would normally earn nothing on a Thursday can suddenly bring in thousands in bar revenue because Eric brings not just bodies, but enthusiasm. His events are paced like a 3-act performance. Early on, he shakes hands, welcomes guests, and personally ensures no one slips unnoticed into a corner. As the crowd thickens, he escalates the experience, cash raining from the air bubble guns, blasting dancers, performing DJs, adjusting their sets to match the tempo he dictates. By midnight, the real spectacle begins. On this particular night, the climax is body sushi, a dramatic reveal where sushi is served from a performer carried onto the dance floor. At other parties, he brings fire breathers, sword swallowers, pole dancers, or chocolate-covered strawberry platters flowing through the crowd. Nothing repeats. Every week is a reinvention. Eric is not simply present at his events, he animates them. While bartenders scramble to keep up with demand, Eric is already resetting the tone, signaling lighting changes, cueing performers, solving problems, and posting live updates to social media. His phone never leaves his hand, his awareness never drops. Even during his only meal, a protein bar eaten backstage, he remains plugged into the pulse of the party. Financially, the model is elegant. Clubs pay him a $500 base plus 10% of bar revenue. Tonight, that means $1,875 in total earnings, leaving him with roughly $1,100 after expenses. Multiply that by 4 parties a week, and Eric routinely surpasses $3,000, $4,000 weekly. Yet money is not what drives him. His parties are passion projects crafted with care, precision, and an almost obsessive attention to emotional detail. In a city overflowing with promoters, Eric doesn't compete, he redefines the game. He doesn't fill a club, he transforms it, and in doing so, he proves a radical truth. When experience is the product, any night can become the biggest night of the week. Nightclubs do not succeed because of great DJs, expensive lighting rigs, or premium liquor. They succeed because they convince you within seconds that you are in the right place at the right moment, surrounded by the right people. This belief is the true currency of nightlife, and everything else, music, drinks, decor, is merely supporting infrastructure. What Derrick, Jay, and Eric reveal is that the industry is not about entertainment, it is about managing perception. Derrick embodies the first layer of nightlife economics, the launch effect. His presence transforms empty rooms into places that feel alive. By positioning the right women at the right tables, he creates the emotional spark that triggers incoming guests' desire to stay. His tables act as economic accelerators, ensuring the venue avoids the dead start that can ruin a night before it begins. Derrick is proof that early momentum is not organic, it is engineered. Jay represents the second layer scale and systemization. His workflow shows that nightlife is not random or chaotic, it follows patterns that can be optimized. Jay doesn't just invite people, he funnels them through a carefully managed digital pipeline. Behavioral segmentation, commonly used in high-level marketing, becomes his nightly strategy. He demonstrates how volume consistency and data-driven targeting can multiply a promoter's power far beyond charisma alone. Jay shows that nightlife is a marketplace and information is its most valuable commodity. Then comes Eric, who introduces the final layer experience innovation. When most clubs assume weekdays are lost causes, he proves that creativity can resurrect dead nights and turn them into peak revenue opportunities. His parties reveal a deeper insight that modern nightlife consumers aren't just seeking status or attention. They crave immersive, memorable experiences. Eric doesn't borrow from the existing nightlife playbook, he rewrites it. In doing so, he highlights a truth traditional clubs overlook: people spend more when they feel like they're part of something unique. Across all three cases, a single conclusion emerges. Promoters are not an accessory to nightlife. They are its backbone. They manage risk, curate perception, shape energy, and influence spending more directly than any other role in the industry. They control the opening narrative, attract the spending demographic, and sustain momentum when natural crowd energy fluctuates. Without them, the illusion collapses, and with it, the revenue. Women are not just guests, they are economic catalysts. Their presence creates the psychological signal men respond to this place is worth staying in. When attractive women gather at a venue, men perceive the environment as rewarding. They stay longer, buy drinks, compete socially, and purchase high-margin items like VIP tables and bottle service. Without women, there is nothing for men to perform, toward no incentive to display status, and no justification for the big spend. The nightclub economy runs on three intertwined pillars: image, crowd, psychology. Image creates desire, crowd creates momentum, psychology creates spending. The industry thrives when all three align, and promoters are the ones aligning them. In the end, nightlife is a study in human behavior. It is an arena where status, attraction, attention, and emotion collide. What feels spontaneous is often manufactured. What feels organic is intentionally staged. And what feels alive is in truth the result of countless invisible decisions made before the doors even opened. Nightclubs sell fantasy, but promoters sell belief, and belief above all else keeps the lights on. This is the hidden mechanism behind every nightclub's opening strategy. The early crowd isn't meant to party, it is meant to set the stage. They are the spark that tells late arrivals, this place is happening. From that single signal, a cascade follows: more guests, more energy, more spending. Nightclubs operate less like bars and more like theater productions, where the illusion of liveliness must be created before it actually exists. Thus, nightlife is not driven by music or alcohol or architecture. It is driven by psychology, and those who understand its levers control the flow of the entire night. In this world, the appearance of momentum is more important than momentum itself. A nightclub thrives when people believe that others are having a good time. It collapses the moment that belief cracks. If a nightclub could speak, it would admit one uncomfortable truth: without promoters, the entire ecosystem collapses within 30 minutes. DJs, bartenders, security, they shape the atmosphere, but promoters determine whether there will be an atmosphere at all. They are the unseen workforce powering the nightlife economy, a group whose influence is both immense and intentionally hidden. Promoters occupy a strange position in the nightlife hierarchy. They are not employees yet. They often control more of the night's momentum than anyone on payroll. They don't pour drinks, play music, or manage operations. Instead, they manipulate the most valuable currency a nightclub can possess: people, the right people at the right time in the right place. Their job is to engineer the illusion of excitement long before it naturally forms. At its core, promotion is the art of strategic crowd construction. Promoters bring in the groups that signal desirability, primarily women, because the industry's unwritten equation is simple and brutal. Women create attention. Attention attracts men. Men generate revenue. This chain reaction is the backbone of every club's economic logic. A DJ cannot create it. Marketing cannot accelerate it fast enough. Bartenders cannot manufacture it. Only promoters with their sprawling social networks and psychological intuition can deliver it on demand.